Katana Day was a very dear person to me. I met her when I initially came to Minnesota. I had a contract job at the Penumbra Theater, and there I got a chance to meet her during the Christmas season. And she was doing the design for the cover of the program for Black Nativity. We struck up a relationship then. She proved herself to be someone who I could talk to about art. Oh, she was just a beautiful um, example of a living artist who could translate how that art felt for them in terms of the aesthetic in an academic sense, but how it really impassioned them to see the world in a whole different way, to see people with auras of color around them. And that's the beautiful signature artistry that I think I see in Katana Day's work. The people have auras. So meeting her, getting to know her a little bit better, I had to press her into hosting me at her house to allow me to go through her library as I wrote the narration, a narrative story about the John Biggers mural that was at Osa Memorial Highway and is now being developed in order to be rededicated in a new birth through new artists' eyes. And the program was one that I knew was going to be a tribute to John Biggers' legacy. And so I went to the artists that I knew would have the materials that I didn't have accessible to me because I hadn't gotten in my library of arts books, especially art as it bubbles out of African and African American history and culture. So I asked my friend, my new art friend, Katana Day, if I could come over to her house and look through her library and see if I can find some material, some works written by Black authors that would underscore some of the things that I was going to do as I went through this narrative about the mural. And she opened her door to me. I was allergic to cats. She had a cat. But believe you me, I popped some Sudafed and went through a good, deep evening in her presence. And as I was going through the books and writing my notes, we talked art, we talked our children. I got a chance to meet Katana Day, the artist, and it was really a wonderful welcoming into the art community. She be a gatekeeper. I knew that then, and I'm looking forward to seeing her in a life that will extend beyond this one. And I hope, in fact, that she meets me at the gate. As our friendship deepened, one of the things that we held in common was exhibitry and the love of display. And of course, she was a dynamite graphic artist. Knowing her, um, knowing her expertise and talent, I thought immediately of her when I was given the task to identify artists in the community who could come into the Minnesota Historical Society, where I had begun to work as a manager of their traveling exhibits program. Without hesitation, when the consideration was made for sending out a call to graphic artists who could help depict the life of the old Rondo neighborhood in graphic imagery, utilizing photographs that were had from the archives and and design elements that would speak true to the African American community with all cultural relevancy. Yes, Katana Day was the person to do this. And the exhibit. As we continued our relationship, there were sometimes months, years in between times when I would see her, and she would always be on my mind and on my heart when I would think about artists to invite to the table, given either this initiative or that arts initiative. So when the opportunity arose for me to share information about the deepened interest that the Minnesota State Arts Board had in diversifying their audience and diversifying their grantees through their funding cycles. And I became a community liaison for the Minnesota State Arts Board during my first stint. I knew that Katana was one of the people that I really wanted to bring this information to and offer all the support that I could in order to help her see any one of the projects that she was interested in be realized. I know that when I first came here, Alfred Babington was funding trips for artists to Africa, and she was one of the first complement to go, and I was just so happy, so thrilled for her. The nature of going to Africa for her was one that changed her mind, changed her heart about a lot of the different ways that she approached her art. And I think that that trip to Ghana was actually what influenced her style for the heritage panels that she is known for. Those heritage panels were a true testament to the kind of work that Katana wanted to do when it came to sharing the legacy with a deepened sense of the cultural heritage of any one of the subjects that she placed in those heritage panels. She used it for her family, to profile her family, and she wanted to take the project, as a creative arts project, to Washington, D.C. That was the purpose of her writing for a Minnesota State Arts Board Artist Initiative grant, I believe. She never realized it, and I believe a few years after that submission, I do remember being struck with how important it would have been, how rich, how wonderful it would have been for her to win that grant before she passed. I celebrate what she left with us, the legacy of heritage in art, an aesthetic of heritage that I believe she was really dedicating her design life to. And so I carry on the spirit of that design, that element of pulling in the material culture, the symbolism, the things that make anyone's family, anyone's collective real and realized. Those are the things that I bring to the heritage panels that are constructed with the methodology established by artist Katana Day.